Good evening and welcome to The Frame, an initiative of Access Framingham. I'm Brendan Fitzpatrick. We begin this evening with the City Council's meeting from Tuesday as the FY25 budget process rolls along. The full 11-member council has received the recommended operating budget from the Finance Subcommittee for the upcoming fiscal year. That grand total, $358.8 million, which is a nearly $15 million increase from the previous budget. The budget features a 2.5% tax levy, which is projected to produce an additional $5.3 million in revenue compared to FY24. The Finance Subcommittee did make one recommended change to the initial budget, which had previously represented a 4.4% raise. By a 3-2 vote last week, they advised removing $200,000 from the reserve fund. Chair of the subcommittee and at-large city councilor George King told the full council that the motion was based on spending in years past.
The reason we did that was it's a $400,000 reserve fund. It's a fund that we control. We really haven't utilized it in recent years. And if money was needed in any larger amounts, there are other places we can get money. And so it's really just more of a symbolic cut.
While the full budget was not finalized at the Memorial Building on Tuesday, it was moved along to a second reading. District 4 City Councilor Michael Cannon called upon Mayor Charlie Sisitsky's administration, along with his fellow members on the City Council, to look at the overall budget again, while accounting for factors such as inflation and aid from Beacon Hill.
I'm truly hopeful that as we go forward to the second reading, we can just have another look and see if there are some ways that maybe some of the things that we thought were mission critical for the coming fiscal year perhaps can wait a little bit longer, be done a little bit differently, and we don't set a precedent by passing along the largest spending increase in the history of the city of Framingham.
Sticking with the City Council now, the group has unanimously approved provisions that could pave the way for the creation of a regional emergency services communication district, featuring both Framingham as well as Natick. The agreement to form the Middlesex Regional Emergency Communication Center District is an initiative aiming to make emergency communication more effective and operations more cost-efficient for both municipalities. That center would be located at 188 Concord Street, right by the Memorial Building in the Framingham Police Headquarters. Mayor Sisitsky has been a proponent for creating a regional dispatch center in Framingham, as he told councilors about challenges at the current dispatch centers, one at the Route 9 fire station, another at the police station.
Both of those sites are functionally obsolete, require a very expensive upgrade to the equipment, and there just isn't enough room in those two buildings for them to operate properly.
Fire Chief for the city, Michael Dutcher, expressed confidence that state funding could be secured for this project, as Massachusetts officials are looking to consolidate dispatch services wherever possible. Chief Dutcher explained that 100% of all costs in the regional center's first 3 years could potentially be covered by state 911. Before the dispatch district does go live, Dutcher advised looking to other communities within Massachusetts that have tried similar merges in order to have things run smoothly.
There's been enough of these centers throughout the state that we can look to them. We're planning on not having those pitfalls and having increased efficiencies moving forward.
In the future, additional communities could join Framingham and Natick in the Middlesex Regional Emergency Communications Center District. The public hearing regarding the One Howard apartment project downtown continued last Thursday during the Framingham Planning Board's meeting. One Howard LLC, which is a part of the Boston-based City Realty Group, is looking to build over 130 units across 6 floors at a plot along Howard Street, next to the Armenian Church of the Holy Translators. Rainwater system updates were offered during the most recent meeting, as a peer review has been submitted to the DPW as well as the engineering group Weston & Sampson. One Howard's presentation on Thursday showed that they found faulty infrastructure at the site. They proposed a revised drainage system featuring just under 7,000 cubic feet of storage for the apartment complex. Still, the church's legal representative, Anthony Barsamian, told the planning board about ongoing concerns regarding local flooding and the water level at the adjacent farm pond. He called upon all parties involved to reach a solution for the property, which he noted is in an already densely populated area.
We can't just have a meeting to say, hey, we're going to be your neighbor. I think there's going to need to be some serious discussion between the developer and the church to see if we don't all float away.
More details on drainage infrastructure for the One Howard plan are slated to be outlined when the public hearing on the matter continues during the Planning Board's meeting on June 20th. The Framingham Charter Review Committee's public hearing regarding their findings on the city's home rule charter is being held this Thursday, the 23rd at 7 p.m. It will take place in person at the Memorial Building and virtually on Zoom. For months now, members of the group have been reviewing and recommending changes to the document, which outlines the structure and regulations for the city's government. The entire list of propositions can be found on the city's website in English, Spanish, and Portuguese, framingham.ma.gov for reference. But some of the potential changes include an emphasis on transparency behind the local legislative process, adding more time and opportunities for members of the public to review the city's annual operating budget, increased efficiency on capital budget planning, and alterations to the process for filling vacant government positions. While we don't yet know the outcome of Thursday's public meeting at the time of this recording, the Frame will keep you up to date with major developments in the charter review process. For those who weren't able to attend Thursday's meeting, comments can still be sent to the Charter Review Committee by emailing charterreview@framingham.ma.gov. Again, that's charterreview@framingham.ma.gov. The group's proposals have to be sent along to the City Council for final review by the end of June. Now, it's no secret that Massachusetts has a huge housing affordability problem. So leaders at MERC, the Metro West Economic Research Center at Framingham State University, are eager to focus on potential solutions to the housing crisis at their 31st annual conference next Thursday, May 30th. In addition to providing an overall update on the economic conditions within the Metro West area, the conference aims to bring local leaders, officials, and community members together to seek outside-the-box solutions to housing affordability. That's according to Luis Rosero, the co-director of MERC and an economics professor at FSU, who notes that innovative strategies for tackling housing beyond traditional state government bills or funding initiatives will likely be at the forefront of the discussion.
I wouldn't be surprised if we talk a lot about MBTA communities as one of the hot issues that are happening out there, on both sides, the pro and the con side of the argument. But also things like micro housing units is something that was done in Worcester. Conversion of commercial office space to residential space is something that the city of Boston has been trying to do. Is something that we could be exploring in our own Route 9. We have quite a high level of vacancy at this point.
Massachusetts Lieutenant Governor Kim Driscoll will be on hand to provide opening remarks, which will then be followed by a keynote speaker, panelists, and more. That will all take place at FSU's McCarthy Center starting at 11 a.m. Luis noted that there are still a few seats available if you'd like to attend the conference, which is open to the public for no registration cost. Space is limited, though, and there aren't many spots left. If you're interested in attending, you can learn more at merc-fsu.org. There's plenty of things happening here in the city that matter to you and your community, especially in the middle of budget season, and you can stay in the loop with those updates by logging onto our website, www.theframe.news. It's the latest source for local information, from need-to-know municipal matters to events happening across Framingham and more. Additional details on the stories covered here on the program this week and other features we've worked on can be found there. Subscribe to our email newsletter as well to ensure that you never miss a beat with The Frame. Also, we're interested in any local story ideas that you might have. Whether it's something happening at the municipal level or an event you'd like to get the word out on, you're more than welcome to reach out to us and tell us more. We can be contacted via phone or email. You can leave a voicemail by dialing 508-216-0003, or you can send a message to The Frame at accessfram.tv. We'd love to hear more from you. Coming up next on The Frame, conversations with some of the winners of this year's Senior Heroes Awards. 4 residents have been recognized for their contributions to the community at the Callahan Center, and we were fortunate enough to speak with 2 of them. Stick around. We'll be back after this. Welcome back in as it's time now for our weekly focus. It was an exciting day at the Callahan Center here in Framingham as the 4th annual Senior Heroes Awards ceremony wrapped up just a few hours ago. 4 senior residents were selected by the Framingham Senior Hero Award Team, an initiative of the city's Council on Aging, for their volunteer efforts which have impacted the quality of life within our community. There are 4 awardees in a total of 4 different areas of focus, from healthcare to social development. We caught up with a few of those awardees who stopped by our studio to discuss this honor. We begin with Judith Grove, who received the Senior Heroes Award for Public Service. Her unwavering determination to clean up and redevelop Mary Dennison Park, as well as her successful efforts to build a skate park here in Framingham, are among her many impressive accomplishments. In addition to fighting for environmental justice, social justice has long been ingrained in her endeavors, which ramped up for her when she was a 22-year-old teacher at an inner-city school in Oakland, California. Judith told us that seeing the immense barriers that her minority students faced drove her to use her voice and privilege to make a difference.
I realized that you could do something, but you had to get other people involved. You had to get people to realize they had to speak up. They couldn't just accept their situation. They had to make an effort to change it. So I became a town meeting member, and because of that I met other people who were activists, and a major one is Herb Chasen. Herb took me down to the Mary Dennison neighborhood. I walked by this 18-acre park, and all it had was 3 baseball fields and 2 baby swings. It didn't make sense to me. It wasn't logical in a neighborhood with 1,800 children. And that's when I started to investigate why, and it turned out the park was polluted by Mary Dennison. The city knew about it. They realized Dennison polluted it. They went after Dennison with an environmental lawyer. And Dennison is going to pay for 80% of the cleanup. And the city hasn't backed down. The city got it. The whole idea of environmental justice. I went to a meeting in 2013 of the Open Space Committee, and I went up to the recreation director and I said, why are there no picnic tables at Mary Dennison? And she said, people would congregate. Why are there no soccer nets? She said, they can fall over and trap children. Why are there no swings? Kids could get hit by baseballs. It was so outrageous that there was no question that something had to be done about it. So now it's going to have everything.
Are there any other specific accomplishments here in Framingham that you're proud of in terms of the scope of this award?
Well, it goes back to the kids again, was getting the skate park built. I was down at Mary Dennison when a reporter contacted me and said, the kids wanted a skate park here. And so I met them. When we went to the parks meeting, I came with 6 adult skateboarders. They had been kids. And the chair pointed to them and said, you kids, you're not getting to speak. He would not let them speak at this meeting, and you're not getting a skate park because it's too dangerous. So I presented an article at town meeting in which I explained that the most dangerous sport, most injuries, is basketball. And oh, well, we'll get sued, they said. I said, well, you skate at your own risk. It's on the signs. That's what every park did. So once I got through that, they began to realize there was no turning back. We would have a committee. And they wanted to do it at Mary Dennison. I said, it'll take years before you clean up that park. So we picked a spot on Farm Pond. We joked about it, and that's where the skate park is. And the main skateboarder, he was 12 when it started. At this point, he was 22. So those kids were the kids I had in Oakland. So I go there all the time. We drive by it. I thought about the fact that it makes me happy, but then I realized it isn't happiness. Happiness is something you can get from buying a car. It's actually, the word is joy. Joy is when you can make a change, use your abilities and affect change to help other people.
Judith shared with us that Mary Dennison will also include a skate park because the Farm Pond skate park was so well received. The official groundbreaking for Mary Dennison Park was held earlier this year, and the project is expected to be done in 2025. Meanwhile, Carol Locke also received a 2024 Senior Heroes Award for her involvement in culture and the arts. Carol said she was surprised to receive this honor and described herself as just an ordinary person who likes to get involved in the community. Let's take a listen to hear more of what she had to say.
You know, I always, as a kid, thought that when people retired, they sat on their front porch in a rocking chair and just watched the neighborhood go by. Well, I haven't found my rocking chair yet.
That's good. You're staying active and staying involved with things that you care about. Tell us about that history within the arts and culture and how you use your experience, your history, to help others around the area.
Okay, well, I've had a ton of different careers, and I taught for a while, and a friend of mine had called me up. We'd taken a writing course together, and she said, we really need volunteers to help with this third grade program at the History Center. And you used to teach, you'd be great at this. So I said, sure, I'll check it out. Walked over there, said, oh, and by the way, you can wear period dress. And I said, oh, you mean I get to actually put on a costume? And so for several years, I was the old school marm in the old academy building. I had such a blast. The kids reacted so well, had a million marvelous questions. And so I obviously got hooked. And that sort of was one step of things. I had published a couple of books and had contacted an old friend who actually had been a teacher here in Framingham, asked him if he could tape just a little short something for me to put on my website about my first book. So he said, well, I'd be happy to do it for you, but I don't have the equipment. So I came down to Access Framingham, and the minute I walked around here, I was like a kid in a candy store. Welcome to Novel Ideas. We did this short taping, and a little while later I thought, gee, I have a lot of author friends that are really local. It would be fun. So I talked to a couple people here, and we got Novel Ideas off the ground. And oh my gosh, we had so much fun with this. So I kept the show going for a while, and I met some of the most incredible people. Authors have stories to tell, and that's why they write. And every single one of the people I interviewed was fabulous. You know, from Hank Phillippe Ryan to just a brand new author who just started a beginning book. That was sort of the second stage. And then, I guess I ended up going over to the Callahan Center to help somebody, and I just sort of started finding out what was there and thought, well, gee, yeah, I'm over 55 and a little bit more. And so I started doing things there. And then one day, the president, Mary McGill of the Friends of Callahan, saw me at the center, and she said, oh, Carol, she said, I really need a new Sunshine Lady. And I said, oh, what does that involve? And she said, oh, you just send sympathy cards and get well cards to members of the Callahan. I'm very artsy craftsy, and I love doing calligraphy and all sorts of things like that. So that was right up my alley. Just feel like you're doing something that needs to be done to help somebody out. And you know, during my life, I've been in so many different situations, different kinds of jobs, newbie here and there, and people have taken me under their wing. People have helped me out, whether they were teachers, mentors, colleagues, and just done little favors for me. And so I enjoy giving back.
And a big congratulations to both Judith and Carol, as well as the other Senior Heroes Award recipients, Cynthia Villanueva for Social Development and Maureen Dickey for Health and Healthcare. Access Framingham's own Amy Harding was at the ceremony earlier today, and her full coverage of the event will be up on Access Framingham's website and YouTube channel soon. If you would like to see our full interviews with both Carol and Judith, you can find those on the Frame's website, as well as Access Framingham's YouTube page. On to the weather forecast for the long weekend now, as you can expect sunny skies on Friday, highs in the mid-80s and lows in the mid-50s. More sunshine on Saturday with light winds, highs around 80 and lows in the upper 50s. There's a chance of showers late Saturday night and into the very early hours Sunday morning. As for Sunday itself, partly sunny and breezy, with highs in the low 80s and lows around 60. Not as nice of an outlook for Memorial Day, though. Mostly cloudy for the holiday, with a chance of rain from the late morning onwards. Breezy with highs in the mid-70s and lows around 60 once more. Rain is likely Monday night as well. We're going to step aside for just a moment, but before we do, a reminder that The Frame is taped each week within the heart of the Framingham Center Common Cultural District at Access Framingham's studio. AFTV's mission is to engage, serve, and enrich the community by creating programming that's by and for the people of Framingham. Access Framingham provides educational opportunities through workshops in podcasting, TV production, and Adobe Creative Suite, while also facilitating information and ideas through traditional and new media. Membership with AFTV is open to all who live, work, or attend school in the city. Framingham's students, adults, and retirees are welcome to become a part of it. We here at The Frame would like to congratulate Chibuzor Ogbua on winning the 2024 Hometown Media Award for the Best of Mixed and Trans Media as an independent producer of Jerry's World, a new pilot. Over 1,000 entries compete every year for the awards presented by the Alliance for Community Media. Let's take a look at our local award-winning programming.
But you're all on my team.
Yes, Bagok's you too. When blue's the color of the sky,
I'll reach my goal. Doesn't matter how high.
it's not that easy being pink.
Welcome back in. Let's check in with what else is happening across Framingham ahead of the long weekend. As we mentioned earlier, Monday, May 27th is Memorial Day here in the United States. With that in mind, residents are advised that municipal offices will be closed that day across the city, along with post offices, libraries, and RMV services. Trash and recycling pickups will be delayed a day due to the holiday, while the MWRTA will not be offering fixed route, commuter shuttle, or Catch Connect services on Monday. Residents are also invited to join a tour of various cemeteries across Framingham to honor veterans of the armed forces. Visitors will assemble at the Memorial Building at 8 o'clock Monday morning before visiting the cemeteries. From there, a public ceremony will be held at 11 a.m. at the Memorial Building, as the site will be lit up in red, white, and blue next week. A meeting for Saxonville residents will be hosted by the Framingham DPW on Thursday, May 30th. Updates on municipal plans within the Saxonville and McGrath Square area, including a water main project that's set to begin next month after school's out, will be provided at the Stapleton Elementary cafeteria starting at 6:30 p.m. All residents of the neighborhood are invited to attend and learn more. The city's annual Shred Fest will be held this Saturday, the 25th. Confidential documents and other paper documents in need of shredding will be collected and properly disposed of. Any resident of Framingham with a proper recycling permit can take part in the event, which is being held between 9 a.m. and 1 p.m. at the Recycling Drop-Off Center along Mount Waite Ave. Those without a permit may also donate either gently used clothing or non-perishable food items. Whenever you're out and about in Framingham, you're invited to reach out to us on social media. We're active on both Instagram and X. Our handle for both of those accounts is @FrameNews_. Follow us there for updates that matter to your community. Subscribe to the Access Framingham YouTube channel as well and hit the bell icon there to be notified whenever new episodes of The Frame are released each week. Find us on Facebook too, just by searching for The Frame. And finally this evening, as the school year wraps up, graduation ceremonies are continuing locally. Mass Bay Community College's commencement ceremony took place Thursday night at their campus in Wellesley, as graduates heard a keynote address from 6th Middlesex District State Representative Priscilla Souza. Meanwhile, members of Keefe Tech's class of 2024 will be honored during their graduation ceremony on Wednesday, May 29th at 6 p.m. The event will take place at the Warren Conference Center in Ashland. The rain date will be the following day, May 30th. Congratulations to all of the local graduates. That's all for this week's Framingham News in Focus. For all of us here at The Frame, we'd like to thank you for joining us tonight. My name is Brendan Fitzpatrick. We'll talk to you next week. Take care.